Alex Hormozi made his millions by selling his startups, but that's not how he will make his billions.
I haven't felt like amped about anything in a long time. The $1 billion Alex mark is basically irrelevant because to really win by their standards, we need to build something that's 10 or 50 or 100 billion. You know what I mean? And that might take the rest of my lifetime, and it'll probably happen after I die.
Alex understands that to reach the Bezos billionaire club, he can only get there one way. And that's not by building another business of his own. His entire strategy through his company, acquisition.com, is focused on one thing. To put it bluntly, Alex is a professional angel investor. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you why Alex and other big name celebrities believe in this strategy so much and how investing in startups can produce generational wealth. And I'm also going to share 3 important steps that you must follow if you want to join Alex on the investing Mount Rushmore. Now, before we go any further, let's get super clear on what I mean by being an angel investor. This is when an individual invests their capital or their money into a startup company in exchange for equity, a piece of ownership, usually before venture capitalists and hedge funds ever come on board. And thanks to new laws that passed in 2016 called the Jobs Act, it's actually possible for everyday non-billionaires to become angel investors as well. Did you also know that Gary Vee was an early investor in Twitter? Ashton Kutcher invested in Uber really early on, and Ryan Reynolds bought a majority stake in Aviation Gin before it sold for $610 million. Angel investing is great because it lets you benefit from entrepreneurship without all of the hard work of actually starting a company yourself. Now, the goal is to find the next Apple or Amazon and write that check, right? And invest early and then kick back as the founders go and do all of the work. Uber, they gave their early investors returns of 7,000%. That means it would have turned a $10,000 investment into over $700,000. Wild, right? Now, Ubers of the world, they are super rare, and that's why every company that reaches $1 billion in valuation, they're called a unicorn. And actually, the very first unicorn was started in 1995, and its original name was Cadabra, which eventually changed its name to Amazon. But since 1995, there have been around 500 official unicorn companies that's worth over $1 billion. But remember, those unicorns, they are rare. But if you can invest in one at one of the earliest stages, well, it can produce life-changing wealth. So here's some really important things you should know when jumping into the world of angel investing. First one is maximize your current income stream. Look, the first threshold that I typically encourage new angels to hit is to start by bringing in somewhere around 6 figures a year, and then you can grow from there. Now, I know you may be thinking, hey, that is impossible, Chris. I'll never become an angel investor. But as a guy who once thought 6 figures was so out of reach, I'm telling you it's possible and you can do it. Just keep putting in the work. Now, once you hit this threshold, and assuming you're kind of setting aside some cash to invest, well, then you're ready to jump into the world of angel investing. And when you're ready, you'll start to do the research and jump into this process, right, of reviewing different websites that have startups on them that you can actually invest in right now. Now, if you want to learn how to find those different sites, I've made a video breakdown of it right here. Now, the next steps in the angel investing journey is to make sure that you spread your bets around. Look, for venture capitalists, their typical strategy is to invest in dozens of startups with the knowledge that most of those will more than likely fail. Remember, I said 90% of startups fail. Now, this is where having a diversified portfolio comes into play. What does that look like for a new angel like yourself? Well, I typically encourage new investors to go slow and really find a sector or a space that you like. Maybe it's software or AI or real estate. It's always a good bet to kind of find a sector that you may already have some information or some expertise to start with. It's a great place to start. Now, also remember, angel investing is a long game. This isn't day trading where you can buy today and sell tomorrow if you don't like the stock price. No. So when you start, you want to start with dipping your toe in the water. And maybe you put a few $100 into this startup or to test the process and just see how it works. And as you go, and as you start to feel more confident, you can have the capital, right? You start to grow more capital, money to invest. You can start taking bigger bets along the way. And the hope is that when you bet on multiple startups, that one or two will produce the lion's share of profits down the line. All right, the next thing you need to know is invest in people, not ideas. This is so important. There will always be someone who has the next big idea, but it's so important to really understand who is at the helm of this startup and who is leading it. You want to back founders that have a track record, that have humility, vision, and leadership, that when their back is against the wall, that they'll be able to pivot their way to success. I like to call these founders the Michael Jordans of the startup world. Now, typically, a way to vet a founder is to do a quick Google search or even head over to LinkedIn. I literally did this the other day on a founder that I had a great conversation with and loved their startup. And when I Googled them, on page 1 was a messy lawsuit with their name all over it. So on my next phone call with them, I asked them straight up, hey, what is going on with this lawsuit? Look, your financial future is too important to invest it with a founder who isn't going to treat your money like it's their very own. Here's the thing, becoming an experienced and educated angel investor, it's not going to happen overnight. I think you probably know that. It's like anything. You got to put in the work and then you usually start to see the payoff. But here's the good news. With the strategy of angel investing, the idea is that you may only need 1 or 2 startups to take off before you start seeing impactful returns. And that is really exciting. Now remember, startup investing is risky, so don't quit your day job just yet, right? Use that income, like I talked about, to fund your angel investments, and hopefully, once your startup takes off, you can kiss your boss goodbye. All right, well, there were some of the tips to start your angel investing journey today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't miss a minute of the action here at the Crowd. And if you haven't seen my sneaky plan on how I'm going to bring you and me to Shark Tank as guest judges, well, you can watch that right here.